Hi students! I wanted to show you some acid-base chemistry. So I'm here in my kitchen with my cat, ready to show you a little bit of acid-base chemistry using a red cabbage indicator, which is something you can make yourself. You just boil some red cabbage in some water. You want to chop it up pretty small, and then you let it sit for an hour or so, and then after it's turned that water nice and red, you can strain it out, and the pigment in the cabbage juice will actually change colors when it is in contact with an acid or a base. So here's that red cabbage juice I made, and you can see it's a nice purple color. So it's just boiling a bunch of cabbage in some water, and it makes a little bit of a smell, but also an indicator that you can use. And then here I have a drip tray, and I thought, let's see, we have a spot for tap water, so I got a pipette full of some tap water that I'm gonna put in there so we can measure the pH of tap water. Then I have one for baking soda, one for, well, it's usually I use ammonia, but I had some bleach at home, so I'm going to put some bleach in there. We have a spot for vinegar, lemon juice. I'm going to use lime juice because I have a lime that I'm cooking dinner with. And then we have some mixtures, vinegar and bleach, vinegar and baking soda, and we're going to see what happens in those. All right, so I've loaded up my tray. And what I have here is some red litmus paper. It comes in a cute little bottle. Red litmus paper. And red litmus paper will identify a base by turning blue. So if I stick it in bleach, it turns blue because obviously bleach is a base. Now, you're probably wondering what happens if I stick red litmus paper in an acid. Well, I'm going to stick it in vinegar, and nothing happens. However, if I take some blue litmus paper, so here's some blue litmus paper, and if I stick that in an acid, it's going to turn red to indicate that we have an acid. Okay. Blue litmus paper comes in a fancy little bottle, looks just like this. Now, sometimes we want a little more accuracy, but we still like having paper to help us. And for that, we have pH paper. And you just dip it in and match it to the color. So let's try, what should we try? Let's try lemon juice, or lime juice. So here we go, we got a nice color change. And if we match it up, looks like our lime is maybe a 2 or a 3. Looks like a 2. So lime juice, pretty acidic. Let's see what happens if we try it in something more basic. So if we stick it in our baking soda water, check it out, it's super green. So our baking soda water looks like maybe an 8 or it looks pretty much like an 8. So that's our pH paper. But now I want to show you our cabbage juice indicator. So I have a little chart over here, and if we bring this and put a couple drops in our tap water, so Florida tap water, put about 5 or so drops in there, and it looks like it's maybe between a 7 and an 8, which makes sense. Now if we move over to our baking soda, that's pretty blue looking, so maybe 8 or 9, probably more like a 9, I think. Now we have our bleach. Ooh, that's just eating it up. Interesting. So bleach should be super basic, and it looks like it's so basic that it doesn't even really want to change colors. It's gone beyond a 12. That's pretty cool. All right, here's vinegar. You can see that turning pretty red. pink red, so maybe a 3 or a 4. Here's our lime juice. We tested it with the pH strips to be about a 2. Looks like that's pretty accurate. Then over here, I have, oh, I forget what I put in there. I think I put vinegar in here. Yeah, I put vinegar in there. And then if we mix in some bleach, so let me grab my bleach pipette. Let's see what happens. So it changes back when we mix those two together. And it should form a salt at the bottom. And then over here at the bottom, we have vinegar. And I'm going to add some baking soda. So let's get that dyed. And then if we add a little baking soda, we have a reaction. That's pretty fun. And then at the bottom, I don't know if you can see it, but there should be a salt, because once that reaction is complete, there should be salt at the bottom, and we should be left with water. Because when you mix an acid and a base, you get water and a salt. And you can see it's kind of going back to being purple. I don't know if we need to add more indicator maybe. There we go. It's looking pretty purple. So it's neutralizing. As it continues to react, you'll get a little bit of salt at the bottom, and the vinegar was neutralized by the baking soda in a nice chemical reaction. So that's how you do it. Go ahead and give it a try at home if you can get some parental permission to boil some cabbage and see if you can test some interesting substances around your house.